Okay, so we are in the last section of the first part of our lesson, lesson 6. As for the book, it is lesson 7, the Reformation and Enlightenment. So, first we are dealing with Reformation. In the first section, we studied about the whole aspect of diversity. Then we talked about how the diversity is being appreciated in our country, India, in the early period, just even before the Middle Ages, when Europe was going through darkest period in its history. Right. Then we started talking about what really happened in the Islamic society. How Islamism as one religion had its own different sects. How these sects were clashing with each other. Still, they are trying to find some kind of unity among themselves. And then now we are going to see in this section the last and important part. It is from here that we get the name Reformation. It's not destruction of Christianity, rather the reformation of Christianity, the reformation of the church. You see here Jesus. Short introduction, introduction to the Christianity. Okay, now it all begins from the person whom you see here, Jesus Christ. Okay, right. So you see it in the on page number 120, the Catholic Church and religious reform in Europe. So there we find total history of the Catholic Church founded by not founded. Jesus preached love for all. Okay, that love for all, that preaching became a kind of institutionalized as a church. Okay, now we'll move on to the lesson. We will see what really happens. We know that Christianity began in Palestine religion of West Asia in the first century. It's not that Christianity began. Christianity, a Christian is someone who believes Christ as Son of God. Okay, then the name came to be known as Christianity. Okay, now so Jesus preached love. Jesus was a Jew. Okay, Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus was a Jew, and Jesus died as a Jew. Okay, what Jesus did, Jesus actually personalized God. He said, I am Son of God. Jesus is really Son of God. We believe in Jesus as God's own Son. Through Jesus, God interfered into human history. He intervened in human history. Okay. Right. Now, after the death of Jesus, what happens after death and resurrection of Jesus? What happened? By the end of 3rd century, the whole Roman Empire became a Christian empire. Okay, then what happened? By the end of 8th century, the whole Europe accepted Christianity. So Christianity was the supreme religion of Europe. So Pope was equal to the emperor himself. So it is from here, from 8th century, we begin the Middle Ages, in which church was taking over the whole of the kingdom in every aspect. We saw science, politics, technology, religion, everything. Church was taking over, the Christianity was taking over. So he declared that all Christians should become members of the church and accept what is said on all religious matters. Unlike other religion, Hinduism, Islamism, in Christianity we have one central figure, that is Pope. He is the head of the church. He is a head of all the Christians. He is a head of Christianity. So Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so it had a well defined structure from the village or neighborhood up to the regional and world level. Every religion had a bishop. Every region had a bishop. Even we also have a bishop. We also have a bishop here, and we are supposed to be obedient to the bishop. And cardinals were nominated by above them, with Pope being the highest authority in the church. Still, sorry. So still, we have this aspect. Just a minute. Okay, so church was almost controlling everything. So the political environment of the time, and then the religious authority was always expressing the power of the Pope. So, in a way, the administration of kingdoms was run by the combined power of the state and the religious authority. Pope and king, they were ruling together. And another important thing that we find in those periods, the Middle Ages, was that Bible was the foundation of the church. Okay, so everyone should respect Bible, the holy book, and everyone should accept whatever is said in the Bible. Even now it is. Okay, then Latin was a language the common people did not understand. Okay, but the whole book Bible was in Latin. Okay, only priests can read the holy book Bible. Okay, only priests, bishops, and the Pope, they know Latin, and they will explain to the people. Okay, so people were only passive. Okay, but what happened? So church was so powerful, church was so rich. All the priests, bishops, Pope, they were very rich. Okay, they acquired a lot of land. Okay, and then they had so much property. Okay, and it managed like a feudal landowner. No, when bishop was called as a prince of his place. And apart from this, it collected a tenth of income from every Christian as a tithe. I mean, we call it as a religious tax. Okay, so every Christians are supposed to pay tax to the local landlord. He is a bishop. Okay, and anyone raising their voice against church was declared as heretic and punished. Okay, so you should only listen to the church, you should only listen to the Pope. Okay, right. Now what happened during the time of Renaissance, when art was once again rediscovered, there were many churches being built, especially during the period of Renaissance. So what happened in that time? They were building the famous St. Peter's Cathedral in Vatican. So to build that huge structure, I have been to Vatican. I was there for 3 years, and to see that, to build that huge cathedral in the world, it took 101 years. It took 101 years, one full century. It took 101 years to build that huge cathedral, St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican. Okay, now see, to build such a huge structure, church needed money. And therefore, what they did, okay, now church was selling the indulgence now. So indulgence means, see now, if you give money, your sin will be pardoned by Pope. So if you have committed a sin, you can gain a pardon by paying amount to the church. So Pope will forgive you. That we call as indulgence. But many were not really accepting this way of faith. Okay, so the rising expenses led it to look for new ways to increase its income. It began selling certificates called indulgence that pardoned people of their sins and saved them from punishment. It was one of the thing that really humiliates church even now. Okay, we read in the previous chapter, even people who are, even priests who are so faithful to the church, to the Christianity, they raise their own voices against these particular acts. We saw Erasmus. He criticized many churches' theories and actions and behavior. So these people who were within the church, who were speaking against these kind of activities of the church leaders, they were called as Christian humanists. Okay, they were not actually going against the church, but they were pleading, they were begging for the internal reformation, not destruction, but reformation inside. It was during this time that poor, the farmers, the artisans joined the protests in large number. They opposed church's oppressive practices and called for internal faith. So these people, they did not actually they were not going against religion. They only wanted that there should be some changes within us. We should not go on like this. No, we love Christ, we love Jesus Christ, we love Mother Mary. Okay, but what you are doing in their name is not really acceptable, not accepted, they say. So the kingdoms of northern Europe began to challenge the power of the Pope. Now comes the thing. So in the period of Reformation, what we find, the northern kingdom of Europe, they began challenging the Pope. The rulers of England, Germany, and other countries wanted to free themselves from Pope's control. So they had their eyes on the church's landed properties and wealth. In this situation, Martin Luther began a revolt against the Catholic Church. So church was very rich. Church had properties everywhere. Okay, so what happened? These kings of northern Europe, they wanted to get away all the lands. They wanted to free themselves from the clutches of Pope. Okay, it was in this situation Martin Luther King began a rebellion against the Catholic Church. It is what we call as the Protestant Reformation, Protestant revolution or rebellion, we could say. So Martin Luther and the Reformation, this is one of the important moment in Christianity. So Martin Luther King, he was a priest. He is from Germany. He said only God's grace and personal faith could lead to salvation. So you don't need a particular right, or you don't need intelligence. Okay, you don't need any rights, you don't need any services and so on. And therefore he went against the Catholic Church. So in the year 1517 he wrote 95 theses and he pasted on the cathedral in his hometown. So here he claims that he questioned the church's claim that freedom from sin and punishment can be purchased with money, can be bought with money or intelligence, and the external rituals could lead to salvation. So he said, this is absolutely bizarre. This is not acceptable. You cannot buy God's forgiveness just by paying money. No. God doesn't need your money. God needs your personal commitment. And therefore, you can straight away get pardon from God. You don't need any priest or anyone to do the show, he says. Okay, so his letter to the church was printed in large number and spread his thoughts far and wide. So many people, many commoners were able to understand what he was trying to teach them. Okay, and therefore what happened? So Martin Luther, he found support from common people, but he found opposition from the church leaders. So what happened? Pope declared Luther as a heretic and excommunicated him. Means he chased him away from the Catholic Church. Then what happened? Luther found his own sect. Okay, so he published 3 more books. So through his books, he preached his own ideology, and it is this theology that started the Protestant Reformation. Seeing the mass support for Luther, even the kings, they didn't want to take action against him. Okay, so kings were afraid of even Martin Luther because many people were supporting Martin Luther, and therefore they just left him with his own religious thoughts. Okay, so in the year 1555, the king gave the people the freedom to choose between Protestantism or Catholicism. So king nearly they accepted the sect of Martin Luther. They are all Christians, still they are Christians, but he did not want to be under Catholicism, Catholic Church, under Pope. Okay, so at that time what happened? The Protestants were not an organized religion but had many sects influenced by the thoughts of religious thinkers like Luther. Like Luther, there were so many other priests, okay, Calvin, Zwingli and so on. Okay, now we will just study about a small feature of the Protestantism, what it really taught. Even though it contained many sects, it had some common feature. The Protestantism, though there were many sects, but they had one common feature. What is that? First, all the Protestants, they believed that salvation can be only achieved through personal faith in God's grace and not any rites or practices ordered by the church. No one can tell you what to do to get God's favor. No, it can be achieved only by personal faith. If you are a true Christian, you can achieve your salvation, they said. This meant that people did not need a priest to perform these duties. They even believed that every Christian should become a priest to reach God. That's a very, very important contribution of the Protestant Reformation. And then the Protestants said people should practice their faith. They should practice their people should practice their faith by reading the Bible. So what is so important is Bible, not the person, not the priest. To make this possible, they translated the Bible into regional European languages. Till then, Bible was only in Latin. Only priests, only bishops, only Pope can read the Bible and explain to the people. Okay, but after the Protestant Reformation Revolution, what happened? Bible was printed in all the local languages, and it was largely distributed among the people. In 1522, Luther translated Bible into German. So all this had a deep impact on the Catholic Church. Now, Church was never destroyed. Church only changed its way of looking at things, changed its way of leading its people. Okay, so it led to the reform movement within the church itself, which is called as the Counter Reformation. So in this Counter Reformation, we have the Vatican Council, two Vatican Council, that brought out so many changes within the Catholic Church itself. The Reformation did not just end some of the shortcomings of the Catholic religion. Its most epoch-changing result was to end the religious uniformity of Europe and monopoly of church over religion. It is from this Reformation, the period of Reformation, that the political power and then the church power was separated. Okay, in Europe, countries like England did initially try to establish a state church, but it was impossible to stop the multiplicity of sects that developed over time. Gradually, the link between the church and the state was snapped. Okay, this allowed people the freedom to choose their own religion and helped make the state more secular. Now, no European countries consider Christianity as a state religion. Every state in Europe, every country in Europe is a secular country. They accept secular. They have their permission. They have their freedom to choose their own religion. Okay, so this is exactly what we find, and we have the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. Of course, you can read. So he is another way in which he gives another marga in which we express our love to God, we express our love to human beings, we express our love to the nature. Okay, so with that we complete Reformation, and in the next part we will move on to the Enlightenment. I hope you understood. You must read the lesson as you listen to these videos. Okay, so thank you. Have a nice day.